This is the Hawaiian bobtail squid, and this 2-inch-long animal might have just given humans a new generation of antibiotics. But let's start from the beginning. Hawaiian bobtail squid is a night predator native to the Hawaiian archipelago. It lives in shallow waters and feeds on species of shrimp. To avoid being seen by predators under the moonlight in those shallow waters, the squid developed an anti-predatory strategy. It uses a light organ to match the moonlight so it doesn't cast a shadow. It has detectors in its back that measure the amount of light hitting its body and uses a shutter to regulate the exposure of the two glowing lobes to match the light being received. But what's emitting the light is actually the interesting part. The squid has a symbiotic relationship with a bioluminescent bacteria called Vibrio fischeri, which inhabits the light organ in very high cell concentrations. The mutualism goes like this. The bacteria gets to inhabit the host, which is better than living out in the open because it gets amino acids and nutrients from the squid. The squid, on the other hand, is not harmed by the bacteria and gets to use its light to camouflage from predators. From an evolutionary point of view, this relationship increases the fitness of both individuals, their reproductive success, or their chance of survival. Because the squid is a night predator, it doesn't need the light during the day. That's also good, because maintaining a high concentration of bacteria inside an organ is both dangerous and costly for the squid. So what it does is to vent out 95% of the symbionts into the surrounding water every time it's going to sleep when the daytime comes. Then it buries itself in sand, allowing the remaining bacteria time to grow and multiply so that it has a full complement of bacteria by the time night comes. But here comes the interesting part. Why does the bacteria only produce light when it hits a high cell concentration around dawn? And how would they know? So it turns out these bacteria, and every other bacteria for the record, make and secrete an autoinducer, which is a common molecule produced by every individual that we now know is used for communication between them. Since the bacteria are trapped inside the light organ, the signal molecules are trapped with them. The bacteria have receptors to identify those signal molecules, and when there is a high enough concentration of autoinducers, which is associated with a high concentration of bacterial cells, it triggers the collective behavior, in this case, light production. This chemical communication system where bacteria counts their neighbors and act on it is called quorum sensing. But light production is obviously not the only collective behavior bacteria present. The most known to us is virulence. Pathogens use this mechanism to coordinate their virulence attack and launch it at the same time when the concentration of cells is high enough to be successful against the host, sometimes us. However, this also means that we can interfere in their communication by designing antagonists, which are molecules that are significantly similar to the signal chemicals that they will bind to the receptor but won't transmit any signal. We can prevent the communication between the individuals so that they end up never launching their virulence attack. This is thought to be a viable alternative to our current antibiotics, to which bacteria are developing resistance at alarming speeds. All of that thanks to the Hawaiian bobtail squid.